Oh my gosh, chapter 27 is called Kidnapped. What's going to happen? Margaret and I spent Tuesday evening and all day after school Wednesday in the underground trying to break the case. We were in total toast mode, ignoring the big things to focus on little details that didn't quite fit. Here are some of the things we wanted to figure out. Number one, who leaked the story? We filled an entire wall with cards that listed who knew what and when. Then we started comparing those names with what information did and did not become public. What was the importance of the cleaning crew? When we looked back at the video, my secret agent glasses recorded at the Romanian embassy, we were able to identify that the custodian there worked for the same company as the custodians at the National Gallery. Number 3, how did the burglar find out about the security upgrade? If neither Serena nor Earl was involved, which we believed in our hearts to be true, then someone else had to pass along the information about the upgrade. Who could have known about it? And number 4, who else crossed paths with Pavel Novak? Okay, Margaret said, staring at the evidence on the wall. I've got one more for you, but I warn you, it's really toasty. What does really toasty mean? I asked. I mean, in the theory of all small things, this is smaller than small. It's tiny, but it doesn't make sense, she explained. Lay it on me, I said. How'd he know about the soccer game? She just let it sit there for a moment. What do you mean? We know there's a Romanian connection, right? And it all points to Nevrescu as the mastermind. Yes, but we can't prove it. Nevrescu recognized you at the embassy because he had seen you at the soccer game. Right, I said. But how did he know you would be at the soccer game in the first place? He didn't follow you from your house. The FBI would have mentioned that. But they just said he went to the soccer game and watched you there. I considered this and smiled. You're absolutely right, I said. It's tiny, but that may be the piece. The question kept me up all night and bothered me all through the next school day. How could Nevrescu have known where I was going? Your smart trip card, Margaret said the instant she saw me in the cafeteria on Thursday. The agent knew you were there because your smart trip card set off some kind of alarm. Nevrescu must have access to the same information or equipment. I thought this through for a minute. You might be right, but that would mean he has some sort of connection inside the FBI. We've got to reach out to Marcus. He can't talk to you, she said. He's all over the news. I'm sure he's in the Admiral's office fighting for his job. You can't just have Johann Blankfort send a question in to ask an agent. Well, we've got to do something, I said. Let's go straight to my house after school. I can't. I have my piano lesson. Oh, yeah, I forgot, I told her. I'll run home and start trying to figure out a connection between Nevrescu and the FBI. You come over as soon as you can. Okay, I know you're in a hurry, but don't take all your little shortcuts. What's wrong with my shortcuts? Like the one behind the Safeway? It's gross back there, and you know what I say about dumpsters. You don't have to worry about me, I said. You just get to the underground as soon as you can. It was pouring when school got out, and I tried to reach both of my parents to see if either could pick me up. They couldn't, so I decided to run through the rain, and despite Margaret's warnings, I planned to take every shortcut I knew. I ran down the street and squeezed between the fence to get behind the Safeway. I held my backpack over my head to try to keep dry as I hurried along the dumpsters. And that brings the story back to where I started, my kidnapping. A lot has happened since then, so I'll recap some of the highlights. The giant man from the Happy Leprechaun flower shop knocked me unconscious, threw me into the back of the truck, and drove me to a farm in rural Virginia. Along the way, we semi-bonded over the joke about monkeys in my hovercraft, and then I was able to trick him into triggering my panic button. which was disguised as an asthma inhaler. Oh, and I was seated at a table across from Nikolay Nevrescu, crime lord and art theft mastermind. You are the one that the FBI only talks about in whispers, the one they call Little Sherlock, he said. I have no idea what you're talking about, I said. He gave me a disappointed look. Let's not play games. I know who you are, and you know who I am. I nodded reluctantly. I know you're the man who masterminded the robbery at the National Gallery of Art. He chuckled. Mastermind? I love that word. I wish it were true. No, that fact you have wrong. That's why I had you brought here, so we could set the record straight and you could tell your friends at the FBI they are looking for the wrong suspect. That's when he rolled up his sleeves. I saw the tattoos. The one that caught my eye was the tattoo of the daisy with the numbers 24/7 directly beneath it. Nothing about that made sense. It just didn't fit. Until it did. Until it answered Margaret's question. How did he know I'd be at the soccer game? There's been a huge mistake, I said urgently. You need to let me go right now. Is that so? He laughed. Why should I do that? I looked right at him and did not blink, because the FBI is going to be here in less than 5 minutes, and that doesn't leave us much time to talk about why your tattoo changes everything. This caught him off guard. That inhaler, I said, that's really a panic button. The FBI has been alerted and they are going to come crashing through the door, and we have to talk about your tattoo before that happens, don't we? His eyes narrowed and his lips tightened, and then he answered, Yes, we do. Nevrescu barked at everybody else, telling them to leave as he untied my hands. Both of us had to think fast. As the others scurried out of the barn and rushed to their vehicles, Nevrescu and I sat back down. How did you know? He asked. Your tattoo doesn't make sense. You're a tough guy, not a flower guy. Then I remembered the Romanian word for daisy, Margareta, Margaret, The 24/7 is the European style for the 24th of July. That's her real birthday, right? July 24th. I looked across the table and saw him turn into an entirely different man. You're Margaret's father. Oh my gosh. I'll have to wait till tomorrow.